Conor Gallagher. Wait, why am I doing the Sturridge dance? That's weird. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. This is the morning after show where we take all the content and news from last night's Chelsea game and provide it to you. We're going to be doing a full review of the Palace versus Chelsea game. A fantastic result for Chelsea. Not the greatest performance, but we will take it and go faster than Russell Peters ever did. Chelsea won the game 2-1. Thanks to an amazing goal by Conor Gallagher right at the end. It's heartbreak at Selhurst Park. Yes, Crystal Palace's player of the season from last year scores the winner against them and endears himself to the Chelsea faithful straight away. Now, let's kick into the match review itself. So Chelsea started this game in a 4-2-2-2 formation, a formation that no one expected. Everyone was thinking this was going to be a 4-3-3 or a 3 at the back, usual formation setup. But interesting formation by Potter to start with. Not the best first 15 or 20 minutes by any means. In fact, it was quite sloppy and nervy at the beginning. Fofana made a huge error at the beginning to cost Chelsea the goal. He actually lost possession and gave a sloppy giveaway to Palace, and they went down the right-hand side, crossed it in, and Odsonne Edouard with a beautiful finish in the top left-hand side corner. Nothing that Kepa could have done about it. So Fofana actually looked very nervy at the beginning. This is a signing that I was excited about, but Fofana hasn't been all that since he started. But as the game progressed and as we went into, halftime and the second half, Fofana actually improved quite a bit. So I'm going to blame that just on nerves itself. He is a young kid and he will improve with time. Sluggish start from Fofana, but gradually improved as we went on. I thought Kepa was fantastic this game, by the way. Kepa has got his chance now that Mendy is recovering from an injury, and Kepa looked really solid. He made an amazing save from a long shot, something that you don't really associate with Kepa, do you? Saving long shots doesn't really happen a lot, but Kepa has beefed up quite a bit. He's got a bit of chest now, and he made a nice long shot save, and he was commanding his box really well. I thought he was really vocal and really communicative with his defense as well. And throughout the game, Kepa was just quite solid in particular. So well done to Kepa. And I think Kepa's going to get quite a bit of an opportunity over here under Potter, because Potter obviously likes playing out from the back and using the goalkeeper as essentially a bit of a sweeper role sometimes as well. He did the same thing with Sanchez, the goalkeeper at Brighton. So I think if Kepa keeps these performances up, then Mendy's got his work cut out for him. So Chelsea were basically asleep for the first 20-25 minutes of this game. And they actually really only started playing once Palace scored their goal. And the goal came from a Reece James punt up forward, long ball out to Thiago Silva. What was Thiago Silva doing over there? That's the real question. But anyways, Silva knocked it down to Aubameyang, and Aubameyang with an absolute filth of a swivel finish. Like, that is a pure striker's goal. Monkey off the back. He got his first goal in the Premier League, on his Premier League debut as well. Just before the goal itself, there was actually an incident where Silva could have nearly been sent off for a DOGSO, a DOGSO, denied obvious goal scoring opportunity. Now, if you look at the law book, if it's last man and if it's a handball, then it is DOGSO usually. But this was quite a bit further away from the goal itself. So it's not clear if this was really DOGSO because of the amount of distance between the play and the goal itself. So I think that's why VAR didn't get involved, because VAR only gets involved if it's a clear and obvious error by the referee. But in this case, it wasn't clear and obvious, but at the same time, it was a very orange zone incident, wasn't it? Because Silva blatantly touched the ball, tried to stop the ball from progressing with his hand, and on another day, he could have been sent off for that. I wouldn't have been surprised. And Potter actually admitted that himself in the press conference after the game. He said that I sympathise with Vieira from Crystal Palace if he has any sort of disagreements with that decision. So we got very lucky with Silva staying on the field himself. I don't think it was a foul on Silva. That was very soft, if that was a foul before that on Silva. Some Chelsea fans have been saying that it was actually a foul, so the handball, was meaningless anyway. I don't think that was a foul. I think that was a pretty soft challenge on Silva. But the thing that has to be said over here is that Silva is basically the defense against the dark arts teacher for Potter, isn't he? This guy knows the dark arts to a T. He will do some things on the field sometimes that, they're very orange zone, they're not red or they're not yellow, or he'll do just the right thing to save Chelsea in a particular moment in a defensive situation. That's just because of his experience. This guy is an incredible defender and he just reads the game so bloody well. So Silva did amazing. He was actually really, really good throughout the game itself. And he got the assist for Aubameyang, obviously, with Aubameyang's goal. He knocked it down to Aubameyang. And we're going to have a tough job in our hands to replace Silva, because all of Chelsea's creativity right now comes from passing the ball to Silva and Silva essentially spraying it out wide to the right-hand side or to the left-hand side, primarily to the right-hand side. So as Silva ages, we're going to need a very good ball-playing central defender who can step into Silva's shoes. But right now, this guy is one of the best defenders in the world, it's got to be said. So Aubameyang had a lethal finish, but there were other chances missed besides that from Chelsea. Mount and Sterling in particular were quite rusty, were not sharp in front of the goal. Mount had a really good chance with a header, first time cross from the right hand side. Mount didn't even get it on target. He also had a indirect free kick from 5 yards out. When does that happen? The only time I've ever seen that happen is under 10s football, where the Palace defender basically made a pass back to his goalkeeper and we got an indirect free kick basically 5 or 6 yards outside of the goal. And Mount didn't really make much of that as well. And Sterling on quite a few occasions was through on goal, or he had a couple of one-on-one chances as well where he either made the wrong decision with a cutback or a pass back, or he just didn't shoot on goal. So it was a rusty and sloppy performance from the English boys. I know a lot of the fans are going to get on Mount's back after this game because Mount didn't take his chances and he wasn't really creating a lot of opportunities either, was he? But in Mount's defense, I noticed on the left-hand side of the attack where Mount was primarily based, our left-hand side was essentially dead. There was no attacks coming from the left-hand side whatsoever. And I blame that on Chilwell. Chilwell was very, very safe in possession, too safe in possession. I counted on my fingers 3 opportunities, 3 occasions where Chilwell could have passed to Mount, where Mount made a run into space on the left-hand side, and Chilwell just ignored it. He didn't pass to Mount, and in fact, he just played it back to the defense or played it into midfield, and Mount was actually quite frustrated at that. So Mount didn't take his chances and was sloppy in front of the goal, but he wasn't really being provided much love either on the left-hand side from his teammates. The second half was a different game altogether. When both teams came out in the second half, I'm not sure if it was down to tactics or due to personnel, but the dynamic of the game was quite different. It wasn't as open as the first half, and it was a little bit cagey. We had a few opportunities. Sterling again, there was a few mistakes made by the Palace defenders, and we didn't really take any sort of advantage of those mistakes made by the Palace defenders. But I think our midfield didn't really have the greatest game either. Jorginho was trying and Kovacic was trying as well, but they didn't really look on it. They didn't really look sharp. Jorginho was nursing some kind of knock or some sort of injury, and Kovacic looked quite rusty in particular. Kovacic obviously is known as the ball progressing midfielder, right? He takes the ball, he progresses it forward, and he'll just lay it on to either one of the attackers or to the striker himself. But in this game, Kovacic, even though he did break up play on a couple of times, he made a couple of good interceptions, but he wasn't really progressing the ball well. His passing was a little bit sloppy on occasion as well. And I think with Kovacic, he is coming back from an injury, so maybe he's still nursing a little bit of the knock itself. Jorginho obviously, did quite a few frequent flyer miles on international duty recently, so perhaps it's because of tiredness in the legs or whatever that is. And once Potter made some subs, the game changed immediately. So Potter took off Jorginho and Havertz, and he brought on Pulisic and Conor Gallagher. And this is where the game changed. Gallagher. Now, let's talk about him for a little bit. So Pulisic got the ball, went on a little bit of a mazy run, laid it off to Conor Gallagher, and Conor Gallagher just absolutely slammed it. Beautiful top bin strike into the top right-hand side of the goal. I actually got to give a huge shout out to the commentators, because as soon as Conor Gallagher was about to come on, the commentator curse actually happened. The commentators called it. They said, it's Gallagher coming on, you know what's going to happen next. And that's exactly what happened. So, Gallagher, beautiful strike, won the game in the end for Chelsea. and we will take these points and run. This is exactly what Chelsea needed, folks. We needed a W. We need some feel-good factor back at the club, back in the team. There's been so many chopping and changes happening around the club, so we needed a decent result out of this game. On to Milan in the Champions League. Hopefully we get a result out of that game as well, because if we lose to Milan, that's basically our Champions League campaign in dire straits. Like, it's not really looking good for progression into the next round of the UCL if we lose to Milan. So I think there's going to be some rotation in the next game for sure by Potter. We're going to see some opportunities given to players who haven't been playing as much. I think that Gallagher and Pulisic really do deserve a start, especially after their impact in this game against Palace. This is going to be a long season ahead, folks. A very long season indeed. It's going to take some time for Potter to come up with the right formation and tactics and personnel for his strategy for Chelsea. And we do have some good news coming out that Kante will be back in action pretty soon. He's already training, so he's going to be back pretty soon as well. And it seems like the next couple of months before the World Cup are going to be absolute mayhem. So rotation's going to be key. And Potter's going to need to make sure that the squad is happy, is fit, and the team chemistry is on point. Let's take a quick look at XG, folks. So Chelsea actually outdid their 1.06 expected goals in this game by scoring 2 goals. And on the left-hand side of this chart, you'll see that the first 20-25 minutes by Chelsea was basically dead, but we grew into the game. And at halftime, I think we had 73% possession versus Palace's 27% possession. And in the second half, we basically took our chance right at the death of the game, right at the end, and outdid our XG. Palace didn't offer a lot of threat, a lot of chances, but at the end of the day, we weren't offering a lot either. So it is what it is, and we need to be better, sharper in the final third, in my opinion. So folks, what did we actually learn from this match? I'm going to share 3 key lessons with you. Number 1 is Havertz. I think it's about time that Graham Potter lays the smackdown and really nails down which position Havertz is going to play in for Chelsea. Let's stop doing the experiment. No more of let's try Havertz as striker, let's try him as a midfielder, let's try him as a winger. Stop that. Let's nail down Havertz's position in training and let's start playing him there in matches. I think that's going to benefit the player. I think that's going to benefit Chelsea going forward as well. And we recently have evidence that Havertz performs quite well as a center attacking midfielder for Germany. So let's incorporate that into Chelsea tactics and finalize one position for Havertz to move forward. Number 2 is Reece James. James pocketed Zaha in this game. In fact, at one point, he bodied 2 players in one move. I think it was Mitchell and Zaha in the same move. But Reece was outstanding today, and his strength and physicality is second to no one in the EPL. I think it's quite obvious now that Reece is our right back from here on. We're not going to be playing Azpilicueta as right back in the future, are we? Azpilicueta might come in and play as a RCB or a centre back for us at times. But what we need to do is we need to get cover for Reece. And that's not only just to protect Reece in case he gets injured or he's out, that we have a substitute available for Reece, but that's also to level up Reece, because if Reece gets some competition in his place, then we might see Reece moving from a world-class player right now to an elite level player. So I think that we need to go out in the market in January as soon as possible and really find an attacking wing-back or an attacking right-back that can compete with Reece. Number 3 is Mason Mount. Now, I'm a huge fan of Mason Mount, as you guys all know. I personally love the bloke, but he should see the bench in the next game, at least. It's not because he's not trying or he's not putting in any sort of effort or anything crazy like that. In fact, he's getting into quite a few goal-scoring opportunities and positions, but he's not taking his chances, is he? And that's not good enough for Chelsea Football Club, especially now that he has a genuine competitor in the shape of Conor Gallagher. So I think that Gallagher deserves a start, and I think that Mount should be coming on as a substitute in the next couple of games at least, and that's probably going to bring the best out of both of them because they'll be competing for the same role. Well, that's about it, folks. I'm going to wrap this video up. 2-1 to the Chelsea. We move, and if you've stuck around this far, then good on you. Smash that like button if you can. Even if you don't want to smash it, just give it a gentle, loving like, will ya? for your boy. It helps out the algo. Thank you so much for sticking around. I hope you're well. Look after yourselves. I'll see you for the Chelsea versus Milan match review. And until next time, peace.